while people's come on, the one for Sabbath anthem.
I've been sharing, and I get sharing and get carried away. You like, hey, you want me to share? Just me on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, just put share.
Orlando called on praise.
One time I had on last
In 6 days he finished his creations. All that's in the heavens, all that's in the earth. The 7th day he sanctified and made it holy. Moses told me this day will be for a sign between him and Jacob, established as a covenant in all our dwellings. Israel must keep it as the most honorable day, treated as the light. The Sabbath beginning when the 6th day loses life. A day of rest is not pursue our own pleasures. A holy convocation, that's a holy gathering. What is reading out of his law in anticipation for a spiritual measure that Ahayah gives. Commanded not to buy or sell or to go on a journey. No land with your wife, I hope you heed the warning. Seek and do the things that please Ahayah only. Gather with his people, have a good time. Break bread, drink wine, it's time to cast away the cares of this world for another day. Sufficient are the evils of the day. The holy days in the Bible are Sabbaths too. Jubilees and its new moons. Know you passed the Bible, told you Sabbaths any day. Take heed and do what Moses said.
Let's open this Bible. Exodus chapter 31, starting at verse 13. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye should keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Ahayah that do sanctify you. For ye should keep the Sabbaths therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul should be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the 7th is the Sabbath of rest, holy to Ahayah. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he should be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel should keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant. Leviticus chapter 23, the middle of 32. From evening unto evening shall ye celebrate your Sabbaths. All right. Everybody ready? I want to start off by saying Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Ahayah's elect, chosen people, his peculiar people, his special possession. I want to give our praise again to Ahayah by Hashem Yahshua, but that's the Most High's name, and his son Yahshua's name, our Lord and Savior and King, for giving us the ability to be here today by sending his grace and deeming us worthy of his undeserved kindness this morning, or this afternoon. Here again, I am Brother Ma'ad from Awakening Ahayah Lake Church. This is Brother Baruch, here to present you another Sabbath lesson. Today's title is Israel's Return to the Wilderness and Jerusalem. Israel's Return to the Wilderness and Jerusalem. I know for a lot of Christians that it could be the first time you have heard that, because within your doctrine, that is not being taught, because they're not teaching you that you are the children of Israel. Not all people, but the so-called African Americans, the so-called Mexicans, the so-called Jamaicans, so-called Indians, and so on and so on. But the Bible is filled with promises and covenants to a particular people, the children of Israel. The Bible doesn't teach that we die and we go to heaven. The Bible talks about the restoration of the kingdom of Israel. The Most High said that he would scatter his people because of disobedience, but he would show mercy on Jacob and return them to their own land. And those that are obedient will be deemed as the remnant that will make it overcome this world. And he will give them their inheritance, which is the land and dominion of the world, with their brother and Messiah and King Yasha, whom you can call him Christ. Okay? So, with that being said, I want to, it's a lot that's entailed in this lesson. And like I said, I just prayed that through the Spirit of the Most High, I'm able to do a acceptable job before him in this heavenly realm. But what the Most High is showing us is the truth. He's teaching us is the truth of his doctrine. And every week, he's refining it and refining it. He's informing his people. He's warning his people. So today, he's informing us on what's going to happen shortly. Because we're in the days of what's called tribulations, Jacob's trouble, or the great tribulations, but it's written that it's going to get worse. And there will come a time, and I know this lesson, I pray that people really, please, you out there watching this, go get your Bibles, and pen and pad, and take notes. And please, watch this lesson again. If the lesson is too long for you, go back. You can go to our YouTube page, Awakening Ahayah's Elect Church. It's right here in the back wall. That's our YouTube page. After every lesson, we upload them. Go back to our channel, subscribe to the channel, and watch it in your leisure time, with the intent of being edified or learning the truth about you and your God, the God of the Hebrews. Ahayah Shur Ahayah. Because there's a lot of that come from, as we learned last week, that Christ would be the stumbling block, and 2 weeks before that, a week before that, that Christ would be the stumbling block to the world. So off that rock will come many false doctrines, right? And there was a time that Israel had to flee. Christ warned us of that time. But this time, we're not together as a people. We're scattered through the four corners of earth. And he said, the Most High said, that he would gather his people. And something else that's been taught that I learned, when I was a Jehovah's Witness back in the day, I was taught that only the witnesses will be saved. Right? But Yasha mentioned something when he was on earth. He said, those that are first will be last, and those last will be first. He means a lot by that. Remember, Christ always quoted the scriptures, right? So, this I'm going to put in my words, in the hope that the scriptures, it bring out what I'm trying to convey. We're obligated before the Most High, now that we have this Bible and we have breath in us, to keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. Now, there was a time when, still today, the law, there's 4 categories of the law. We went over this last week and we said that part of the ceremonial law is done away with. Meaning the ceremonial law is still there, but the sacrifices, or the sacrificial portion of the law is done away with. But we still keep the holy days, as Paul said, and as the apostles did after Christ's death. But there's a moral, civil, dietary, and ceremonial portion of God's law. So it's not just the moral law, okay? So while we here on earth and have breath in us, we have to keep his laws to our best of our ability. Because we're not guaranteed to go to the wilderness. See? So, with that being said, there'll be more people on earth that's not a part of Awakening Ahayah's Elect Church, who's not a part of the Gathering of Christ Church, who's not a part of IUIC Church, who's not a part, so the Most High is gathering his people. There will come a time when the Great Tribulations it would be hell on earth. He would gather his people and would protect us within his borders, as he promised. And the world is going to be fighting against themselves. Many will die. Okay? And within those borders, he's going to purge out the rebels. So, how is this person a rebel if there was already law keepers? That's a question that we must ponder on, because we're taught that we have to, we're taught things that these people won't. I was taught this, that you don't stand a chance. Well, the Most High is merciful, and all the people that grieve His children will get an opportunity. So in the wilderness, there will be people who never heard of Ahayah Ahayah, and will be instructed. I'm going to go through a lesson and prove what I'm saying. But we'll be under the rod of God's word and the authority of Christ. And those who rebel will be instantly destroyed by the angels. And the judges, that the judges and the rulers that the Most High give us in the wilderness. Okay? Now, that might be a first for some of y'all. First for me too. Okay? But the Most High give me something, I give it to y'all. Okay? Because I was taught differently, and the Most High is teaching me differently. Okay? So, let's get it. First chapter is the book of Hosea. I would say you're going to say Hosea, wouldn't you? Hosea chapter 1, verses 10 and 11. So this is Christ's doctrine. This is what Christ talks about. As a matter of fact, this is not part of the lesson. What scripture is this? Let's see. Matthew chapter 16, don't turn there, I'm just going to read it real quick. Verse 26 to, 27, it says, "For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then shall reward every man according to his works. Verily I say unto you that there be some standing here which shall not taste death, till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom." Right? And go to Mark 10. 33. No, verse 31. It says, "But many Christ give like a parable about some laborers who the Most High, who the Master hired. You know, each of them had the same work, but they had different durations of their actual labor. But they all receive the same payment at the end. So he says, verse 31, "But many that are first should be last, and the last first." And I'm going to stop right there. I didn't get the scripture that I wanted, but it was talking about when the Messiah was born. Let's go to Matthew 1:21. It says, verse 20, "But while he thought on these things, behold, the angel of Ahayah appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit. And it says, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahshua." In the King James it says Jesus, but and it's supposed to be Savior. So the Hebrew Savior is Yahshua. It says, "For he should save his people from their sins." So he has a prophetic role to play when he comes back to save his people from their sins. Right? He died for us, but also it says that Israel would not return into Jerusalem until Yahshua lead them. Okay? So, with that, let's go to the beginning. Hosea, chapter 1, 10, 11.
All right, family, we're going to start midway. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it is said unto them, Ye are not my people, there shall it be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living God. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land. For great shall be the day of Jezreel.
Jezreel is another name for Jerusalem. Okay? So, here we go. It said that they will come when those who were called not my people, we would call all these bywords. African American, like I said, Mexican, Indian, Jamaican, Haitian, the Aboriginals in Hawaii, the Aboriginals in Australia, in Cuba, they gave us bywords. So we were no people. But in the same lands, the Most High said, put a spirit in the air, through the earth, and revive his children. And teach them through his teachers that he will appoint who they are, who he is, who their Messiah is, and what we must do. And eventually, he will return us back to our homeland. Very important information. Okay? Next precept.
Same book, Hosea, chapter 2, starting at verse 14. And it reads, Therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into...
Her is talking about Jerusalem. The Most High said he was our husband, and Jerusalem and Israel was like his wife. Okay? He was a father. He was his children. Read.
I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably unto her.
He will allure her and bring her into the wilderness. Read.
And I will give her vineyards from thence, in the valley of Achor, for a door of hope. And she shall sing there, as in the days of her youth, and as in the days when she came up out of the land of Egypt.
Now, I wanted to just mention this because this came to my mind, but this is what the Jews was anticipating when the Messiah came on earth. This is prophecy concerning our people. So when the Messiah came on earth, the Jews that believed was anticipating. Those who didn't believe that he was Messiah were still waiting for him to come. Because they know the Most High promised Israel these things. Okay? Now, the question we must ask ourselves is, why aren't we anticipating what the Most High promised? But because there's a great deception that came to earth as Christ warned us. Christ said, many will come in his name, deceiving many in his name. So, therefore, they won't teach you about the promise to the children of Israel. Right? And the covenant, the contracts he made with us. But today, you're going to learn about it. I pray you have an ear to hear it. Let's get it.
Verse 16. And it shall be at that day, saith the Most High, that thou shalt call me Ishi, and shalt call me no more Baali.
Now, that's not saying that's what his name is. That name has a meaning. Mm-hmm. In this day, we will call him husband. He will remarry us. We will no longer be married to Satan. His name is Ahayah. He gave it to Moses. He says his name forever. But his name's, like this name right here, he's saying you will call me husband. Because he's going to establish a new contract or marital vow with us in the wilderness. Okay? So let's go. So it's saying that we would no longer call him Belial or Belial or Baal, which is names of Satan. Jehovah, Yahweh, those are all the same names of the same God. So all this time, even back in the Bible, the children of Israel went astray and was calling on other gods. We was not calling him Ahayah during the time that we were in Hosea's time. All through the fall of us, we've been calling on the wrong God. So it's no marvel that today we will still be calling on the wrong God, serving the wrong God. He prophesied that he would scatter us in a land that our fathers nor ourselves knew. In those lands, we will serve other gods, even wood and stone. Okay? We said this day will come that's going to cease. Read.
For I will take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name. And in that day will I make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of the heaven, and with the creeping things of the ground. And I will break the bow and the sword, and the battle out of the earth, and will make them.
Stop a minute. Now, before we get deep into the lesson, we've already proved that the Jewish people aren't the Jews at all, because they said that concerning the prophecy, it was prophesied that the Jews would return home. Well, the Bible has already stated that when they do, that he said he will make a covenant with beasts and men. So there'll be no more violent animals that will devour mankind. No poisonous snake can hurt a child or any person. He's going to cease war. So that hasn't happened yet. So obviously they're not the people.
That's right.
The true children of Israel has not returned home.
That's right.
They're still in the land of their captivities, serving false gods. Read.
I will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth, and will make them to lie down safely. And I will betroth thee unto me forever.
That's engaged, so he will again form a new marital contract with Israel forever. This one would not be broken. Okay?
Yea, I will betroth thee unto me in righteousness, and in judgment, and in loving kindness, and in mercies. I will even betroth thee unto me in faithfulness, and thou shalt know, Ahayah. And it shall come to pass in that day, I will hear, said the Most High, I will hear the heavens, and they shall hear the earth, and the earth shall hear the corn, and the wine, and the oil, and they shall hear Jezreel. And I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy. And I will say to them, which were not my people, thou art my people, and they shall say, thou art my God.
Can't wait for this day. I pray that we make it. Khan? He said he would plant us, he would sow us. So this would be the work of his hands, not ours. Okay? So there's no such thing of us planting ourselves. Right? But let's keep going. Next precept.
Chapter 3, verse 4. And it reads, For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without teraphim. Afterward shall the children of Israel return.
Now, do we have a king? Because only king that we're supposed to have is of our brethren, from the tribe of Judah. So, do we have a king? Donald Trump is not our king. As I checked and read, Yahshua is our king. Okay? So, this is prophecy has been fulfilled. Okay? We're not doing the sacrifices? Yes.
Somebody need to clear it up, and
Neither was Obama. Okay? Obama was a prince of Satan. He still is. Okay? Let's go.
Afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek Ahayah their God and David their king.
So it says, afterwards, the children of Israel should return and seek Ahayah their God. Right? So we will return and seek him. We're doing it right now, but when Most High is speaking, he's not speaking about one day. Everything is it's a process. There are those right now that have heard. We are seeking him. There'll be those in the future who will seek him. That's why his mercy and his grace is so inconceivable. Because if it was up to us, we would have been destroyed, displacing these people. But his mercy, his grace, his grace is the greatest expression of love. Like he really loves us. He really loves his children as you love your children. If your child was hard-headed, not if, but your children are hard-headed. When the last days, the Bible said that they hard-headed and bad, wicked. Do y'all destroy them? Do y'all not extend mercy and grace to your children, still love them? So just using us who have children as an example. of why the Most High has not executed his judgment yet. But he has set a date when it's that day. It's called the day of the Lord. Okay? But he has extended grace to us. That don't mean that, we can just do what we want to do. He's teaching us what we must do, and what we learn, we must apply. Or there's judgment for us at the end. Okay? Because that would show that we disregarded whatever, we tried underfoot his grace. Read.
Afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek Ahayah their God and David their king.
Now, that's not talking about our forefather, David. It's talking about the one that will come out of the loins of David, that was promised to David, the Messiah. Okay? Read.
And shall fear Ahayah and his goodness in the latter days.
In the latter days. So this is coming. Right? Next precept.
Next precept, Ezekiel chapter 20, verses 33 through 38. When everyone's there. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 33. As I live, said the Ahayah, surely with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, will I rule over you.
Now, so, like it for a minute. The Most High is saying that with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and with fury poured out, will he rule over us. So this is a process. There'll be many of his children angering him. So he's not angry at the righteous, those that are obeying him. But during this process, the fire, his kingdom is angry. He has given people opportunity, but they still rejected him and rebelled against him, and he's going to destroy them on the spot. Okay? So read.
And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered.
Another thing that I want to clarify: this lesson will destroy the grafted in doctrine. Okay? Yes, Gentiles will be gathered in amongst us, but they're not the people, because the Most High is strictly talking to Israel. He said he would gather us from among the people, right? So he didn't cast us off and get some more people. And now it don't matter who you are. Because, the Bible is saying this to Israel in the latter days. And we're living in the latter days. So there's still Gentiles and Israelites that are not the same people. A Gentile is a non-Israelite. Okay? Just to clarify that. So he would gather us from among the people as he did in Egypt. And we're about to get into some commentation concerning us exiting Egypt. He had to bring us from among the people to sanctify us. Other nations came with us, but he still separated his people. Okay? Let's get it.
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face.
Would you get plead for me, please? I think it's 81.99. This plead don't mean beg you. Okay? It's very important to understand what words mean. Because he told me there, I would plead with you. I would beg you to serve me.
Right.
What does plead mean?
Plead, that's H8199, Shaphat in the Hebrew, and it says to judge.
So, to judge. Remember, I'm going to say it right now. So, in the New Testament, when the Apostle Paul said, let no man judge you, this is the same thing Paul was talking about. We covered this in the last week's lesson, right? We said the sacrificial portion of the law was done away with and the penalty of death. So that was judging was the penalty of death. What else does it say about it?
It says pronounced sentence for or against.
Or for or against. So back during Moses' law, which is no different than Christ's law. Only thing different that we have grace, meaning that this portion is done away with. I can't stone his brother if he break the Sabbath. That's grace. As long as the Most High wake him up in the morning, he has opportunity to get it right. But if he don't get it right, Christ's gonna do more than stone him, than to stone him. Okay? So, yeah. So that's what Paul is talking about, because at that time, the Pharisees and other religions that was under the Jews were still doing the things that were done away with when Christ was crucified and resurrected. They were still stoning people and doing sacrifices. So this is what Paul was saying. So y'all can stop that. No one can judge me but God. Talk. Okay? So let's get it.
Verse 36. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt.
Now, did Most High beg Israel to serve him? He did what? He murdered them. 30,000 at a time, a couple times. So they all died, except for Caleb and Joshua, and the rest that was 20 years and under. But millions perished in the wilderness. Okay? Let's go.
So will I plead with you, said the Ahayah, and I will cause you to pass under the rod.
So he will cause us to pass under the rod of his word, his law. His law is not done away with. His law endures forever. Okay? There is no grace at this particular time. Okay? You can do it or you ain't. Right? Read.
And I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
I bring you to the bond of the covenant. He will remarry his people. Figuratively speaking. He will bring us into the bond of the covenant. This is a new covenant that's coming. Read.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels.
So he will purge out the rebels. So as I stated earlier, these are people who was not law keepers. And these are people who were so-called law keepers. Like right now, we got many groups who know they're Israelites. And all of us have some things right. But truthfully, honestly, none of us have it all right. That's why the Messiah said, keep that which you have until I come. He gave us examples of the 7 churches in the book of Revelations. So those who don't get it right at this particular time will be destroyed. Okay? Because this is what we're going to get into in a minute, what I consider as like a boot camp period. Okay? So let's go.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel.
So he has brought them out. Now, they didn't flee. Because we once believed in the flee doctrine. But these folk, they didn't flee. The Most High brought them out. Okay? But they still rebelled. He said he's going to purge them out. Okay? Read.
And ye shall know that I am the Most High.
And while he's purging this, all of us that will overcome will witness it as a testimony of what not to do. Read.
Next precept, Zechariah chapter 12, verses 6 through 9.
So now when I hear Christ say that when he comes, he would give his angels a charge. He would gather his wheat and his tare. And the wheat, would he put it in there, in the garden or in the barn, which means the kingdom. And the tare will he destroy. So all my life, not all my life, but for many years, I believed this would happen instantly. But it's not. He would give his angels a charge and they would gather Israel. Okay? And then this is part of what Christ is talking about. There'd be rebels and they would be burned in the fire. They get destroyed and they know the next destination is hell. But this is not, Christ is talking about one day he comes down, boom, and it's over with. This is a process. He's summing it all up. Because he understands his purpose, his functionality, that the will of the Most High. Okay? So read.
Verse 6. In that day will I make the governors of Judah like an hearth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheath, and they shall devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place.
See that? The governor, so the Most High, because I always wondered that. I'm like, you know, when we go to the wilderness, we have, remember I told y'all this, we have to have leaders. The Most High would give us leaders. And through these leaders, he would execute judgment. Okay? Read.
Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place.
Jerusalem should be inhabited again in her own place. As I constantly say this all the time, same thing. But most of our land is covered under sand. What you see over there in Israel right now is only a small portion. Most of our land is uninhabited right now. We're going to get that. Read.
Even in Jerusalem. The Most High also shall save the tents of Judah first.
He will save the tenth of Judah first. That's why you see the awakening happening with the tribe of Judah first. So for those who think the Indians ain't God's people, you in serious error. But he says, and Judah is the Most High known. So he would start with his tribe for a reason. He made a promise to David. You got a question? Oh, read.
That the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. In that day shall the Most High defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David.
Courageous, valiant. So you will not have the spirit of fear. Okay? Israel would be as our father David. He wouldn't for no games. Okay? A mighty man. So he will give us our courage back. We'll no longer have a trembling heart as he cursed us with. Read.
And the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Most High before them.
Now that don't mean we'll be like the Most High. Alright? We'll be over people. Read.
And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem.
My people who's outside of Israel, be careful. He promised our father Abraham, any person or nation that bless us, he will bless. Any person or kingdom that curse us, we just read about it. You touch his people, you will be destroyed. So you better watch how you treat these Negroes out here, police. Okay? Let's get it.
Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8 and 9. And it reads, And it shall come to pass that in all the land, said the Most High, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein.
So two-thirds will be destroyed. Read.
And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined.
It says Christ going to baptize with what? The Holy Spirit and fire. Read.
And will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, It is my people. And they shall say, Ahayah is my God.
Is it making sense to y'all right now?
Can we go over there one more time?
Okay.
So he said you're going to purge 2/3 of them?
2/3 of us are going to perish.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So that's showing you that it's just not this church.
Right.
People that we think don't stand a chance, them guys people. They'll be given an opportunity. But here's the thing, we have a daily task. You see what I'm saying? So that you know the truth, you got to do it. You see what I'm saying? So if you die, it's like, what state did you die in? Was you obedient in what you knew? Because if you die before the wilderness, and they keep his commandments, you get burnt right now. You get tormented in hell. Yes, sister.
This is taking place in the wilderness, right?
Yes. There'll be none of this in the kingdom.
The second.
The wilderness is done away with. Now he said, again, I bring you into the wilderness and judge you, plead with you. Right? So it said he purged out the rebels. Right? So let's get it.
Next precept, Isaiah chapter 35, verse 1 through 10.
So ain't no us, like if I die tonight, I'm not gonna get resurrected to get tried in the wilderness. You see what I'm saying? I had my opportunity. You see? What did I do with it? This is showing you how merciful and loving the Most High is. Okay? That's why he says, judge no man from the outward appearance. And for us, women and men, be careful how we treat one another. Okay? Because we are still the Most High's anointed, his chosen people. That's why it says, he that is angry with his brother without a cause faces judgment by the council. See what I'm saying? It's serious. Let's go. You say Isaiah
35.
Let's get it.
Verse 1. The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose.
See, I told you, most of our land is desert. But he's going to do wonders every day. Let's get it.
It shall blossom abundantly, and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Most High, and the excellency of our God. Strengthen ye the weak hands, and confirm the feeble knees.
Now, how this should be read is they should see the glory of Yahshua and the excellency of our God. Yahshua will be the one that will be before us. Right? He said he will come in his glory. Right? Read.
Say to them that are of fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with a recompense. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped.
So there will be those who rejected and will still be given the opportunity. Okay? Read.
Then shall the lame man leap as an hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert. And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water, and the habitation of dragons, where each lake shall be grass with reeds and rushes.
So do y'all see why I said that most of our land is covered, as the Bible says, Israel, Jerusalem, is enjoying her Sabbaths of rest. Most of our land is not inhabited. Our land is huge. Okay? Read.
And an highway shall be there in a way.
A who?
An highway in a way.
Highway. Read.
And it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, though fools shall not err therein. No lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up thereon. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there, and the ransomed of the Most High shall return.
Now, this is talking about us returning to Jerusalem. After. So this is the whole process. He had purged out the rebels. Right? Now there's a highway that Christ is leading us on to go to our homeland. Okay, read. It says, and the rest, read.
And come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away.
So it's showing you, right, that Zion is not the wilderness. The highway leads to Zion. Zion, my brother, is called the city of David. That's where David established his kingdom, right? Jerusalem. Okay? So after the purging, so we're mixing both of them. It's a lot. Okay? So let's say we're here for 3.5 years, okay, in the wilderness. Meaning I get destroyed, and we're witnessing all this. When everyone is in unity, when all the rebels are purged out, Yahshua will lead us home. And that's what I'm talking about. We're singing in gladness. Okay, so we're going home. You see what I'm saying? Are you there with me?
So that's what he mean when he said, then the eyes of the blind shall be opened and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. So everybody's not going to be there in the beginning because some are going to be fighting against it.
Exactly.
And then when this all take place, when he purged people.
This has a twofold meaning. It's physically and spiritually.
Okay.
Okay? He would heal us. So there'd be no blind people, no lame people around Christ.
Right.
He would heal them.
Okay.
Okay? So understand. Let me back up for a minute. There's a lot going on earth prior to this and during this time.
Okay.
The same way it was when we was in Egypt, coming out of Egypt. There's a lot going on. That we witnessed the power of the Most High. So not only are we getting instructed, but we have witnessed and came through a lot of stuff. He has gathered us from the chaos that's going on around the world at the same time as we are in its borders. So we know He's our God. We as people, without shadow of a doubt. You see what I'm saying? But still, 2/3 will rebel the same way they did in Egypt, coming out of Egypt. Are we there?
I'm there.
So just because he's doing miracles and powerful works and destroying nations and people, these people right here have proved themselves to be Israelites, but stiff-necked rebellious people, like their forefathers. Just imagine what our forefathers witnessed with the Most High. And what did they do? They still rebelled. He purged them out. He's gonna purge these out too. I'm gonna say these, I'm not gonna say us. Okay? I have confidence a little bit, but let's get it. I don't want to be purged out. I know. Let's get it.
Next precept, Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 38. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am the Most High.
He's establishing it by multiple witnesses. Another prophet, Ezekiel. Okay? Let's precept.
Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 8 through 14.
So one of the biggest purges we can think about it when Moses, when Moses said, "Come over here, the rest of y'all just swallowed them." Okay.
Yeah, no, it was a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's a bunch
There's
of
multiple times. You know, when they gave they sons and daughters over to the Gentiles,
correct.
he destroyed like 35,000, like 30,000. You know, he was, and then he was destroying them also in war. So when we went to war and was losing wars, he was purging us then. Because he brought them against us to purge us. Okay? But this time he's not going to use nations to destroy us. He's going to destroy us with governors. Yeah. Read.
Verse 8. Behold, I will bring them from the north country, and gather them from the coasts of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame, the woman with child.
Now stop. Now, I'm glad we got this scripture. There are many people who have read what Christ said. He says, woe to the woman with suckling child. Right? In those days.
Mm-hmm.
But he said he would bring them so he would protect the woman with child. You see what I'm saying? The woman with little children. He would protect. We're all his children. So just because you're pregnant don't mean you can't make it on this journey. Okay? But you notice he's gathering like us. So it's like throughout the whole world we've been gathered by the angels. We will see what they saw aforetime. We will know who's guiding us. It won't be me. You know what I'm saying? It would be something more powerful than me. You see what I'm trying to say? So this ain't me getting a plane ticket and going to Jerusalem. You see what I'm saying? This is the Most High's doing. God will no man say. According to scriptures, he don't say that. Okay? He talks about fleeing. Understand, things have already come to pass. Right? Because how can he say flee and, one is in Africa, one group is in New Zealand, One group is in America, the other one in Jamaica. So, you know what I'm saying? There's no leadership. So we just going to go off our own initiative? Or is he not a God of order? See what I'm saying? He's going to gather us, so we would know it. Read?
And with them the blind and the lame, the woman with child, and her that travaileth with child together. A great company shall return thither.
Hey, who?
A great company.
But I'm just, is this me, or do the scriptures say what they say? A great who?
Company.
Company. So if it's a great company, something is leading them.
Con.
It's not a great company where, everybody sporadically get a plane ticket.
A bunch of individuals.
Bunch of individuals. This is of the Most High. He said it would be marvelous in our sights. The whole world should know. And he's doing this. Did the whole world not know we came out of Egypt? He said they would know that you are my people and I am your God. I'm just saying what the scripture said. All praise to Ahayah by Shemyash.
Right.
Let's get it.
They shall come with weeping and with supplications.
Oh, before I was not speaking in tongues right there. Okay? I was speaking Hebrew, which is a tongue. But I was saying all praises be to Ahayah in the name of his son Yahshua. Just to clarify that. Don't think I didn't say stuff like that. Okay? I said all praise to Ahayah by Hashem Yahshua in the name of the son Yahshua. Okay? Let's get that. Gotta get that. But let's go.
Verse 9. They shall come with weeping, and with supplications will I lead them.
They will come with weeping and supplications. Matter of fact, sisters, after and I talked about this a little. Where is she at? Oh, I can't see you. It's amazing that we talked about this a couple weeks ago, didn't we? Like, check out what it's saying. This great company that he is gathering, it says, they should what?
They shall come with weeping, and with supplications will I lead them.
Why are they weeping and making supplications to the Most High? Huh?
Do they know that's him? They know that.
Imagine these are like us. They're feeling like they're not worthy, and he's been graceful and merciful, and they have like a contrite spirit and heart. So they're sorrowful, like when we first found out the truth and who we really were inside to the Most High, like we wicked people. But he saved us. So they're coming with weeping, like they're sorrowful, and they're praising him, they're praying to him, thanking him while he leads them. Can y'all see this? Great exodus in this world that's about to occur. Not a flea doctrine, but a great exodus. Because we're going to find out that everything that happened in the past was a foreshadowing of the big show that's coming. Let's get it.
They shall come with weeping, and with supplications will I lead them. I will cause them to walk by the rivers of water in a straight way, wherein they shall not stumble. For I am a father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. Hear the word of the Most High, O ye nations, and declare in it, and declare it in the isles afar off, and say, he that scattered Israel will gather him, and keep him, as a shepherd doeth his flock.
Now, does this sound like the Gentiles are spiritual Israelites right now? Or Israelites right now? You cannot be converted into these people. We're the people that he's talking about, my people. This is what the Bible teaches. This is the beginning of prosperity. This is true prosperity. Or as Sister and I was talking about a couple days ago, this is true success. Those who make it are successful. Outside of making it through this fire, no one is successful. Money does not make you successful. Okay? This is success. Those that overcome the world. That he's making go on the straight way. Right? Read.
For the Most High hath redeemed Jacob, and ransomed him from the hand of him that was stronger than he. Therefore they shall...
So look at, he ransomed us from the hand that was stronger than us. So that means when the angels do come, no man can bind us. Like he told Pharaoh, let my people go. Okay. So he said that, what do you say? Read that again, please.
And ransom him from the hand of him that was stronger than he.
So how can you leave someone that's stronger than you? Unless something stronger than them
Exactly.
freed you. Read.
Therefore they shall come and sing in the height of Zion.
And you know he ain't talking about the Jewish people, because who the singers in this earth? There's some singers right here in this room.
Thank you.
I wasn't speaking about you.
He tried to
He tried to. Let's get it.
Therefore they shall come and sing in the height of Zion, and shall flow together to the goodness of the Most High, for wheat, and for wine, and for oil, and for the young of the flock, and of the herd, and their souls shall be as a watered garden, and they shall not sorrow any more at all.
And their soul should be as a watered garden. Hey, this is the promise to our people, which is hidden from our people. It's not really hidden. Yeah, it's hidden because our people are hidden. They don't know who they are. Your everything is in the Bible. So your soul will be watered as a garden. It says, what does it say next? And they should not sorrow anymore at all. At all. Read.
Then shall the virgin rejoice in the dance, both young men and old together. For I will turn their mourning into joy, and will comfort them, and make them rejoice from their sorrow. And I will satiate, is that satiate?
Yeah.
And I will satiate the soul of the priests with fatness, and my people shall be satisfied with my goodness, said the Most High.
Now, let's get it. Now, read this right here. This commentation. Okay. So, the word journey, as I stated earlier, is what we will be on. A journey is not like me going down the street. This would be a journey. So there'd be stages in this journey. And we're going to relate it back into the beginning. And showing you how all that was prophetic. It was a foreshadowing of what we're going to do. Okay? Let's go. So it'd be stages. I got here. Go ahead. Let's read it.
Journey, stages in spiritual growth.
So there'd be stages in spiritual growth. He said he would lead us. He would teach us. Read.
It says, Yahshua, I'll get the precept.
Yeah, I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read this portion.
Okay.
I'm gonna read a portion of this. Then I want you to read it. Okay. It says Yahshua will teach us, and we know this how. So obviously, let's go to what the Samaritan woman said in John chapter 4, verse 25. We have to correlate all the scriptures because they all are adding up to the same story that's told throughout the whole Bible. Verse 25 reads,
The woman said unto him, I know that Messiah is coming, which is called Christ.
let me get it. The Samaritan woman, non-Israelite, she had this information. Right? This is not a Jew, but she knows this. She says, I know that Messiah, or I know that Yahshua coming, which is called Messiah. When he is come, he would teach us all things. Now, how does she know that? See? How does she know that? Huh? Someone taught her because a long time ago when they exiled all the Jews out of the land of Samaria, they had to bring a priest back to teach them the laws of the land, the God of the land, Jerusalem, of our land. So they had our records, our scrolls. This is when there was no tainting of our records. So it was taught that when Yahshua comes, he would teach his people who the Most High is. So just want to know that. So these people who will come will be instructed. And they was and 2/3 of them will still rebel. Read. So then it says, now, so I say the wilderness is like a boot camp. It's a training, preparing us to go back home into the kingdom that Christ has prepared. Right? Same way in modern day boot camp, many don't make it.
No.
Many don't make it. Those who work the hardest do. Okay? So it says, there was 42 encampments which progressed in 3 stages. The first test after baptism coming through the Red Sea. So in the scriptures it say when our people came out of the Red Sea, that was a form of baptism, right? So let's get was this foreshadowing the baptism that would be introduced by John the Baptist, confirmed with Yahshua's baptism. Read the precept.
1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 2. And were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud.
Read one and 2.
Verse 1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant, how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea.
So they were all baptized into Moses. Now we're baptized into the one Moses said that would be greater than him, the Messiah. Okay? So starting from the beginning, like I said, all that was a foreshadowing of things to come. Okay? So then, go ahead, you can read it.
Then it says, Shur was a 3-day sanctification journey of 40 miles.
So we went to Shur. In 3 days, that's when he separated us from the Egyptians and all the other people that was there to sanctify us. Okay? So let's get is precept there?
A little further.
Read it.
Encamped at the bitter waters of Marah.
So we encamped at the bitter waters at Marah. Now what does that signify? Okay? Remember, our people was thirsty and murmuring about there was no water to drink. The only water they had to drink was bitter. So the Most High, as I put here, it says, it brought out the lack of faith of our foreparents, and they murmured against Moses. Exodus chapter 15, read Exodus chapter 15, verse 25 and 27, please.
The book of Exodus, chapter 15, verse 25. And he cried unto the Most High, and the Most High showed him a tree, which when he had cast it into the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them, and said, If thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of Ahayah thy God, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am Ahayah that healeth thee. And they came to Elim, where were 12 wells of water, and 70 palm trees, and they encamped there by the waters.
Now I'm going to break this down, right? So back to the bitter water. What the Most High was doing was proving Israel, showing them that they had to totally rely on him. There was many places around surrounding areas where they had good water, sweet water. But he didn't leave them there. Because Israel come out of the state of captivity, right? Most of them was serving false gods, the gods of the Egyptians or the gods of the lands. So he brought them from that and was showing them that Pharaoh was nothing. He destroyed Pharaoh and his army. Their gods was nothing. He destroyed their gods. Everything they believed in, he destroyed. Now he's showing them that if they trusted him and keep the commandments, there's nothing that he couldn't do for them. Even do another miracle, having Moses put a tree in the water and it turned sweet. Let's remember this. Let's put ourselves there. We're thirsty as all get out. Okay? The water is so bitter we can't drink it. Moses cried to him. He said, Moses, come down the stream and put it in the water. Now it's sweet. You see what the Most High is doing to his people? He's showing them there's nothing, no circumstance, no condition that we should fear. He got us. He says, if thou would diligently hearken to the voice of Ahayah thy God, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give an ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes. So he's showing us who he is, right? So then read.
It says, just like our foreparents, we will need deliverance from the nation's way of life, thinking and worship.
So not only do our people have to be delivered from Pharaoh and his army, but this time period we have to be delivered from the customs of the land. We have to be purified through the education of the Most High. So he gave us laws, statutes, and commandments as a nation. Okay? Read.
And it says, next they encamped at Elim. There they were given a prophetic look at their future. It contained 12 mountains.
Now those 12 now, it says at the end right here, it says, and they encamped there by the waters. So now, after Most High had done this, he had them come to the edge and show them this great sight, which was their future. It had 12 springs, wells, 12 wells of water that represented the 12 tribes of Israel. And the 70 palm branches represented the 70 nations, the whole world. Showing them that if they hearken to him, they would have dominion over the whole world. All their eyes can see, they will have it. It belongs to them. Okay? Read.
They were fed and given living water to drink. There is no other cistern to drink from but Yasha.
So that water always represented the Messiah. They've given, so we say we're going to drink out our own cistern, what the Most High provides us, not no one else. That's what the Most High was establishing. It's him that we must rely on for everything. He's our cistern, right? Which he had provided to us through the Messiah. So he's that cistern. He's that living water. That's what he said, I am the living water. Come, anyone that's a thirst, come, and I will give them life-giving water. Right? Read.
Proverbs chapter 5, verse 15. And it reads, drink waters out of thine own cistern, and running waters out of thine own well.
So we are not to serve any other gods. If we serve any other god, we're drinking water out of another cistern. Do y'all get that? Okay? We must do only what the Most High commands us. Okay?
It says they complained and was given water from a rock. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4. And it reads, and did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Yasha.
Now, do you see how Yasha been with us all the time? But they complain. What are they complaining about? Giving up the old life, the things, their comfort zone in captivity. Mm-hmm. How do you be comfortable in hard bondage? I don't know. Like we're comfortable right now in this hard bondage. Right now, if you're thirsty, you can get some bottled water. You gotta rely on the Most High. Egypt, even though they're in captivity, they can get some water. They can eat. They want to eat. They wanted that. They didn't want to follow the Most High after all these things the Most High has done for them. So, brother, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be the same for these 2/3. All these marvels the Most High is doing, these rebels are still going to do what a rebel is, a rebellion. They're going to rebel. You see? As their foreparents did. Okay? Yeah.
Psalms 107, verse 32.
So, Christ, so that water represented Christ. That will come. He was that rock. He is the foundation that the Most High established to bring salvation and to redeem his children through. He's the rock that cannot be broken. Psalms 107.
Verse 32 through 39.
Now I tried to do the best that I could to put it all in, that I had my mind on this. I have no clue. What do you say?
No, no.
Okay.
And it reads, let them exalt him also in the congregation of the people, and praise him in the assembly of the elders. He turneth the rivers into a wilderness, and the water springs into a dry
Now
ground.
listen, who's this talking about? So I said, who would be in the midst of us? Yahshua, right? So it says, let them exalt him also in the congregation of the people, and praise him in the assembly of the elders. So there will be, like I said, leaders that the Most High will establish amongst us. Right? It says, he turned he turned rivers into wilderness, and the water springs into dry ground. Right? He did that. He's going to reverse that. Read.
A fruitful land into barrenness, for the wickedness of them that dwell therein. He turneth the wilderness into a standing water, and dry ground into water springs. And there he maketh the hungry to dwell, that they may prepare a city for habitation.
So when we're in the wilderness, this is what we would do. Prepare a city for habitation. Read.
And sow the fields, and plant vineyards, which may yield fruits of increase.
So showing that we would be there for a time span. Okay? Read.
Which may yield fruits of increase. He blessed them also, so that they are multiplied greatly, and suffereth not their cattle to decrease. Again, they are diminished and brought low through oppression, affliction, and sorrow. Again, that's
I'm going to stop at 38. Let's go. It says, now, after the showing of the future or the promise that was offered to us, we fought Amalek. Okay? Who was Amalek? Those are the 1%ers, the hierarchy, the so-called Edom, the Jewish people. Huh?
Isn't that the giant's children? The spirits of the giant's children?
No, that's Anunnaki.
that's a knock.
Anak, yeah. Yeah. Now this is, Amalek is Esau's grandson. Okay? So, let's go.
It's a chief family of the house of Edom.
Exactly.
Yep.
It says, they fought and defeated Amalek. So let's go to Isaiah 63, verse 1 through 6. Did they agree that?
Huh? No, yeah, we just got it. No, I was saying that's the part we were talking about earlier.
So now you're going to find out who Amalek is. Okay, let's go. But showing how, remember, everything is a foreshadowing. So we're fighting fighting people for a reason, right? He's clearing out the land of the defilement. Okay, read.
Isaiah chapter 63, verse 1 through 6. Who is this that cometh from Edom, who dyed garments from Bozrah, with dyed garments from Basra. This that is glorious in his apparel.
Now, before we get further, what I want to state, it's in our law that the seed of Amalek must be wiped out from under heaven. We defeated them, but not all of them did we destroy. But this bloodline, the Most High commanded, will be wiped out from under heaven. That don't mean all Esau children will be wiped out. This particular, the hierarchy of Edom, those ones that like the Queen and Bush, all them folks. Donald Trump, them people. Okay? Read.
This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. Or Shalaki, travailing in the greatness. What's that traveling? Traveling? Traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat.
So Yahshua said that it's him that speak these things. He said, well, why? He says he's mighty to save. Why his apparel? Why is his garment bloody as it looked like he was trying to wine fat? He was stepping on grapes. So his white garment is full of blood. So Yahshua is down here doing some business, taking care of some business for the Most High, right? Read.
I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me.
That's why none of them will be saved. There was none of these people that was for him.
Mm-hmm.
They all fought against him. So he destroyed them all. So the people, there were none with me. Read.
For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come.
The year of his redeemed is come. So Yahshua is going to fulfill. He said all things must be fulfilled. That bloodline must be eradicated from off the face of the earth. Okay? Let's go.
And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in my anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth.
So they little space army. Not saying they're in space, because there's such thing in space. They can't get outside firmament. The things that they're preparing to fight Christ, it's come crashing down to the earth. Okay? None of the instruments will have success. Read.
Next precept, Obadiah chapter 1, verse 1 through 10. The book of Obadiah, chapter 1, starting at verse 1.
Let me get this one. The vision of Obadiah. Thus says Ahayah concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Most High, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us raise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. Right now, are they not greatly despised? Okay? The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee. Though thou dwellest in the cliffs of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who should bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, this will I bring thee down, says Ahayah. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? how are his hidden things sought up? These people have no consideration for life, no compassion, mercy for nothing. Yes.
Like that little video that you
Yes.
showed.
I wish I had the opportunity to show that. The one that you put on there, the little white dude going to kill.
Destroying everything.
Yeah. Not saying all white people are bad, but it's talking about those that are in rulership, that bloodline. Okay? Read. One minute.
7.
All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. At one time, it was all in confederacy against us. Now the Most High turned their spirit against them. That's why these nations are about to come against them too. It says, shall I not in that day, says Ahayah, even destroy the wise man out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? The mount of Esau. It's not saying, he said that he would have a remnant of Esau, okay, that will be called by his name in all the heathen, okay? And the mighty men, Otima, which is Edom land, shall be dismayed, to the end of that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. See, it's telling you who it's talking about. The kingdom of Esau, the hierarchy of Esau. Okay? For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. The Messiah will cut them off forever. Filling the law. Go ahead.
It says, they encamped in Rephidim, meaning rest.
Meaning rest. Yes. Oh, okay. So we fought Amalek, he gave us rest. This is all prophetic, but let's go.
Here he established our first rulers and judges to set order amongst our tribes in our wilderness journey. He will once again appoint us judges, rulers, and captains.
He gave us priests, right, to judge and rule over us. Right? Starting with Aaron. And for those who understand, when you get to the Levites, Moses' children was included in the Levites. So for those who think Moses just abandoned his family, he did not. His sons was with him. Right? They was included. Matter of fact, let me see that. It's in Chronicles somewhere. Keep reading.
Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 3 through 8.
Right here. It's in 1 Chronicles 23, verse 14. It says, now concerning Moses, the man of God, his sons were named of the tribe of Levi. The sons of Moses were Gershom and Eleazar. So he could name them in the tribe of Levi if they were there. Okay? He didn't abandon his children. Okay? Let's get it. First Chronicles 23, 14. And he made them chiefs too. Okay.
Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 3.
So for the record, Moses commanded his children in the laws of the Most High, and it was chief over the children of Levi. Ready?
And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed.
So he would do what?
Set up shepherds.
Set up shepherds. So we can't be in the wilderness without order. He would set up shepherds. Okay? Read.
And they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith the Most High. Behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name, whereby he shall be called the Lord of our righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that they shall no more say, the Most High liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Most High liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country.
Has that happened yet?
No.
Okay, I thought it happened in 1948. You know what I'm saying? But let's get it.
And from all countries whither I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land.
We should dwell in our own land. So this way, same way he did us back in wilderness, back in Moses' day, he gave us shepherds, right? He took some of the spirit that he gave Moses, and he put it in to the men that judged and ruled over our people, right? I think one of them, it was two chiefs. One of them was named Medad, and the other one was some other dad, Idad, or something like that. But matter of fact, let me see it. This ran this morning. Anyway, let's go.
Continue with the commentary. It says, next, they camped at Kabrak Atah, meaning in Hebrew, graves of lust, appreciate, or covetousness. The people lusted meat and refused the manna from heaven.
So it says, next they camped at the one place, meaning in Hebrew, graves of lust, appetite. What's I said? Appetite. I'm gonna say
It's supposed to be appetite?
Yeah, appetite. And covetous. That's what our people was doing at that time. They was murmuring. They was covetous of things outside of the Most High. They didn't want to follow Moses. They didn't want to be alive on the Most High. They had an appetite. They wasn't satisfied with the manna that He has given them from heaven, right? And we know that the true manna, the bread from heaven, is Yahshua. So all in all, they were rejecting Christ. Okay? So just like in that time, our people will reject Christ too. Okay? They would not desire the bread from heaven. Okay?
Next precept, Numbers chapter 11, verse 33 and 34.
So as it said, He would purge out 2/3, which would be considered as the rebels. So again, if you're rebelling, who are you rebelling against in the wilderness? Yahshua. Right?
In today's time, what does that look like, rejecting Christ? Like, where you say you're going to reject him from his words when he comes? You know, like the Bible or his laws or statutes. That's how we do it today?
This is in the wilderness, brother. So right now, if you're rejecting Christ right now, like now, if the Bible told you to do something and you didn't do it, then you reject it.
Yeah.
But now He's physically here. He's commanding us, through God's word, what to do. So if you rebel, what does that mean? You're not doing what He say do. So therefore, what happens? He said, any nation or kingdom any person or kingdom that does not want to serve him, bring them forth, enslave them. See? So that's what rejection is. I mean, he's telling you what to do, but you still want to do your own thing, which we're going to find out in a minute. Read.
Numbers chapter 11, verse 33. And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of the Most High was kindled against the people.
Now what happened, they murmured that they didn't want this manna. So the Most High, from the seas, brought quails, which are little birds. Right? He said, oh, you want some meat? He said, I will give you this meat until it start coming out your nostrils. Right? So he gave. I know, but you got a comment. Can you please raise your hand, sister? Thank you. Let's go. Let's get it.
Yeah, I'm just picking up
Numbers chapter 11. Where we at?
33.
33, let's go.
And the Most High smote the people with a very great plague, and he called the name of that place Kibroth Hata'avah, because there they buried the people that lusted.
So, keep that in mind, right?
Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15 through 18.
Now that was that time. Check out what happened in our time, if we make it. No, son. Isaiah 66.
66?
Con.
I mean, it's going to be the same thing, brother, going on. Yes.
So we're jumping back and forth.
Yep.
You're telling us, and then you bring us to our time.
Yep. Excuse me. Yep. Excuse me. But yeah, we're going showing what at the correlate. You know what I'm saying? Or the correlation. Yeah, between what happened at that time, all those things that happened, the exact same thing will happen in our time. Right? Check it out. But he's not going to give us quails from the sea. Okay? Read.
Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. For behold, the Most High will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire, by his sword, will the Most High plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Most High shall be many. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree, in the midst, eating swine's flesh, in the abomination, and the mouse shall be consumed together, said the Most High.
See, they had that meat in their mouth and died. This time, those who purify themselves, they have cleansed themselves and was listening. But remember, that was called the graves of what? Lust. Right? Covetous. So they still lusted. Even though they purified themselves in the wilderness, they still lusted after what was abominable to the Most High. He said, "You come with flames of fire." You know what I'm saying? He's going to destroy them. Read. So you hide behind the what?
Behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh and the abomination.
Show you that pork, the Most High never said pork and mouse was clean meat to eat. This is after today. He's gonna destroy people from eating swine. Right? So read.
And the mouse shall be consumed together, said the Most High. For I know their works and their thoughts. It shall come that I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory.
Come and see his glory. Okay? Read. I wish I had like a map where I can show the travels. You know what I'm saying?
It says, next, they encamped at Hazeroth, which means a place surrounded by a fence. Next precept, Zechariah chapter 2, verse 5.
So all these names of these cities, it has, like I said, prophetic meaning. They camp in this place, and in Hebrew it means a place that's surrounded by a fence, right? So that was before time, foreshadowing what will come. 66, where we at?
Zechariah 2:5.
Start at 4. No, 3. We'll start at verse 3.
And it reads, And behold, the angel that talked with me went forth, and another angel went out to meet him, and said unto him, Run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls, for the multitude of men and cattle therein. For I, saith the Most High, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her.
It'll be like a fire surround us and the glory in the midst of us. Okay? So this is showing, you can follow me there, that that's what these names of these cities was representative of. Our foreparents were in these places, right? Getting purged and and learning the law of the Most High. And in the wilderness, and we'll be doing the same thing. Jerusalem is not just talking about like this time we will not be in Jerusalem. We will be in the wilderness. And Jerusalem also represents us. Like it says measure a line around Jerusalem. You're not talking about the actual place. You're talking about us. He said, I see one time he talks about us being out in the fields. Like we saw us in the cotton fields, in the sugarcane fields. He says Jerusalem. So he calling us Jersulem or Jerusalem, you know what I'm saying? So let's go.
Next precept, Psalms chapter 107.
Because in the kingdom, there's no one for him to protect us from. They are been destroyed. Get it? Okay, let's go. Where we at?
Psalms 107, chapter 107, verse 35 to 38. And it reads, He turneth the wilderness into a standing water, and dry ground into water springs. And there he... Yeah, we already read that.
We'll read it again.
And there he maketh the hungry to dwell, that they may prepare a city for habitation, and sow the fields, and plant vineyards, which may yield fruits of increase.
That's why I was saying. Read.
He blesseth them also, so that they are multiplied greatly, and suffereth not their cattle to decrease.
So this time you see, like, he's not doing the miracles with bitter water, that kind of stuff. We have built the city, so-called a city. You know what I'm saying? We have planted food. We have cattle that's in the midst of us, right? But still, there's people behind a tree that seem to put eating the pig and the mouse.
I want that baby back.
Want the baby back. Midnight rib. Let's go.
It says, In Sinai, Ahayah prepared to give them his laws, which was his marriage contract or vow. Miriam and Aaron complained about Moses' Ethiopian wife, which was symbolic of Israel's attitude against his marriage contract or vow in Mount Sinai.
That's people understand why the Most High, allowed that to happen. He used the same way that he did with Hosea. Let me say it. Right? He commanded Hosea to marry a prostitute, which represent us. And the children that him and the prostitute had, he said, are not my people. So in the same way, he used the prophets for prophetic reasons. And one time he had, I think one of the prophets, Jeremiah, somebody get like something and bury it in the mire, and what he represented us, right? But it was representative of the attitude of the marriage contract that they was binding in. So that's what that was all about. Read.
Next precept, 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 30 through 33. 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 30. And thou spakest, saying, Hear me, O Israel, and mark my words, thou seed of Jacob. For behold, I sow my law in you, and it shall bring fruit in you, and ye shall be honored in it forever. But our fathers, which received the law, kept it not, and observed not thy ordinances. And though the fruit of thy law did not perish, neither could it, for it was thine. Yet they that received it perished, because they kept not the thing that was sown in them.
So, that's them rejecting the marriage agreement or arrangement of the Most High, right? It said, although it was sown, and for example, it showed you that the Most High law will never be done away with. It said it cannot perish because it's the Most High's. So it cannot perish. But Ahayah showed things through his prophets, what would be symbolic of us, right? Even though with this new deal that's coming, we're going to reject it. Those, it'd be 2/3 that reject. I won't say we're going to reject it, okay? But let's go. Yeah. See the So when he gave them this, when he put them on his vine, this is where we was at. Read.
It says,
So, for example, when we're saying we encamped, we're traveling.
Right.
So when we get to this place, this is what Most High is doing in stages, representative of
journey.
on journey, yes,
Stop
yes.
On the journey and stage is cleaning us up.
Mhm.
Is it that let
That
land?
third year, that yep,
Yes.
yep. Read. Yes.
Different stages he put them through.
Yep. Read.
it says, We see this in the name of the place they encamped, Rithmah, which means to bind. He will bring us into the bonds of his new covenant. Yahshua will rule over us by the rod of God's word. Next precept, Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31 through 34.
So we're not in these places for no reason. We're there for a reason, right? Like I said, it's symbolic.
And it reads, Behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
So the Most High said he can make a covenant with all people, right? He make a new covenant with who?
House of Israel and the house of Judah.
Both kingdoms, the northern and southern kingdom. He'll make a new covenant, okay? Like we was in this place, he made it our first covenant, which they break, as the Bible says. He will remarry us, okay? Read.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith the Most High.
So can y'all explain to me what he's talking about? He said, I was a husband to them. What's the personality of a husband? Provider and protector. He protected us in the 40 years that we wandered, on these journeys. Right? No wild beasts harmed us but the scorpions that he sent against us. Right? The snakes, the scorpions, the snakes. Yeah, snakes. Right? Scorpions and the snakes. Yeah. So, same with that. When the snakes was attacking us, our people were dying of the poison from the snakes. But when Moses got the snake and put on the rod and held it up, all those so-called that believed in Moses and the God of Moses, they were healed. Right? Well, that same thing Christ said was foreshadowing of him. But those who look up to him and have faith in him and his God shall be saved and healed. So all these things happen for a reason, foreshadowing again what was to come. Okay? Read.
But
Yes.
this,
That's crazy how
people in charge of the medicine have that symbol, the producer, whatever, the snake on the stick. Like, if you believe in my medicine,
You'll be healed. Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
crazy, man.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Good way to put it, my brother. Oh yeah.
Verse 33. It reads, "But this shall be the covenant that I will make with thee, with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Most High, I will put my law in their inward parts, and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people."
So that don't mean today His law done away with, and it's in our hearts, and in our in our inward parts. And I'm gonna prove that through the next precept. Okay. This because we have not fulfilled this covenant, right? Christ initiated it, but it's not signed and sealed by the Most High yet. For a better way to put it, okay? Christ said, "This is my blood, which is the new covenant." But all Israel is not in that covenant yet. Okay? So let's get it. We're gonna see this right here. Let's go.
"And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor."
So are we teaching right now every man his neighbor? So obviously this hasn't occurred yet. Read.
"And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Most High, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Ahayah. For I will..."
So how will they all know Him if there's no instructions going on? Exactly. Okay. Read.
"For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more."
So He'll forgive our iniquity. Those that chose to be obedient, He'll forgive their iniquity. The rest of them, as we read, will perish. And just thinking about that, right? Remember, Christ did things according to the Most High's will. So when Christ was here, He was known to be in the midst of the people doing what? Teaching. So if He come back, He's not going to teach? Right? Okay. Read. And did he not set up elders?
He did.
Huh? Peter, no, did he not set them up to teach? So we not set up people to teach the great company? You see? Okay, so this is trying to make it all. I hope I'm relaying it to y'all. Emma? Okay, let's go.
It says, "The next several encampments will be about much activity. The camp of Ramon Perez means pomegranate of the breach. The pomegranate represents the laws, statutes, and judgments of the Most High Ahayah."
It's amazing when you go look at what these cities name. That's why I love the Strong's Concordance. You know what I'm saying? And then different things too, but because I never knew what a pomegranate represented, but now I do. He was supposed to this pomegranate. You know what I'm saying? But just like it says, y'all remember Korah? What he do?
So, went against Moses, had his people, had his 200.
But was he not a priest? Was we not from the Levitical priesthood? Bloodline? He says, we all got people. He's not just using you. You and Aaron. You know what I'm saying? So it's showing a future rebellion that will be going on in our time. And this Joshua and those that he established or appoint as leaders. There'll be another rebellion. Okay? I mean, all this thing is crazy, man. But let's go. Here we are.
The pomegranate represents the laws, statutes, and judgments of the Most High.
So this is the next camp that we traveled to. For a reason.
You're on the road.
You're in the road. Yep. Go ahead.
So clearly there was a breach of his laws, just as famous priests of Israel, Korah, Dothan, and Abiram, were envious of the divine authority of Moses and led a rebellion. Ramon Perez speaks of a dispersion or breaking up of Israel led by Ahayah that would produce much fruit. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 38.
So the Most High allowed Satan to Ahayah allowed Satan to overcome them because of their heart condition, the spirit that they had in them, and he used them as an example, right? But through this breaking or the breach or whatever, it produced fruit, right? There was those that obeyed, right? There was children that watched this, that obeyed. So it produced fruit. It wasn't it wasn't in vain. And just like when this will happen, when we see the destruction of these rebels, it will produce much fruit. Read. What sounds?
Ezekiel 20:38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel.
Read that way, it still correlates. He would purge them out. Okay? And they would not enter into his rest. Oh yeah.
Commentary.
No, that's part of that one. Oh yeah.
They encamped
Okay.
at.
So now we traveling to another site. Let's go.
They encamped at Tahat, which means under the authority of, and Moserah, which means admonition or correction of one in authority.
So after that, the Most High established what? That Moses was his prophet. Okay? So now they're in place, they're shown under the authority of the one the Most High say. Okay? So let's get it. So in our time, he's going to establish that this is Yahshua. Okay? Read.
It's written that we will go under the authority of one ruler. Psalms 119, verse 74.
Buck the sister, you out of there.
So listen to the Messiah prophetically speak through David. Okay?
Verse 74. They that fear thee will be glad when they see me, because I have hoped in thy word.
They that fear him will be glad to see him. Those that don't, won't. Okay? Next precept.
Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 24 through 28.
I don't know about y'all, will y'all be glad to see the Messiah? Okay. Just hope it.
This grass will be glad.
Uh,
Glad.
Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 24.
Now, this is not talking about David. David is buried in the sepulchre. Okay? The seed of David. Okay? Read.
And David my servant shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they, and their children, and their children's children forever.
For who?
Forever.
Not in heaven. On our land, forever. Read.
And my servant David shall be their prince forever.
For who?
Forever.
See, Moses was a foreshadowing of the Messiah. Right? But primarily, prophetically, it's a reason deeper than Most High getting angry with so-called angry at Moses, not let him go into the promised land. He would not be the one that would ultimately bring his children to the promised land. The Messiah would be. Okay? This one shepherd, this king. Okay? Read.
Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them, and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also will be with them. Yea, I will be their God, and they shall be my people.
Do we not read this in the book of Revelations?
Mm-hmm.
Should we get that? Let's get that.
Look, last verse.
Okay.
And the heathen shall know that I, Ahayah, do sanctify Israel.
The who?
The
I thought it was
heathen.
all the same people. They grabbed in and replaced us.
Hmm.
At this time, there's still such thing called a Gentile or heathen. But they would know. Read that again.
And the heathen shall know that I, Ahayah, do sanctify Israel.
Now, how would the heathen know that? If he's not doing his thing in the dark. So if the whole world of Gentiles would know what,
And the heathen shall know that I, Ahayah, do sanctify Israel.
cleans is Israel, is glorified in Israel. How would the whole world know this? If we're traveling individually. I'm just asking a question. Just are you with me? If you're not, ask a question. You have a question? You sure? I don't want nobody here not to ask a question. If you don't understand what I'm saying, please stop me and ask a question. Is there anything you don't understand right now? Your question?
Clears up the flee that you're doing it on your own. Because, like you said, it would be all individuals, sporadic, and it would be a statement.
A huge statement. I told you to do that, didn't I? But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It says the heathen would know that it's him that cleanses people, gather his people, send the people on high. Bottom line. So this would be a wonder in the whole world, in the whole earth. Not just in America, in the whole earth. Okay? What you say?
I said, just like in Egypt.
Just like in Egypt.
The last part. When my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore.
Let's get it.
Get in Revelations?
No, let's get it.
Okay. Next precept, Isaiah chapter 65, verse 9 and 10.
Where you at? Right here. Look.
Yep.
Okay.
And it reads, and I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob, and out of Judah, an inheritor of my mountains. And mine elect shall inherit it, and my servant shall dwell there. And Sharon shall be a fold of flocks, and the valley of Achor a place for the herds to lie down, for my people that have sought me.
So for all those people who saying no that we ain't gonna be eating meat, I don't know what these flocks are for if we ain't be eating meat. Okay? But everything that we need, the Most High will supply. Okay? For those that are obedient. Because he would bring forth a seed out of Jacob. It's talking about Christ and us. But Christ is those that are in Christ. Those that are keeping his laws and commandments. But Christ is an ultimate seed that he would bring. He said and out of Judah, an inheritor of my mountains. Right? That means kingdoms. It's only he will establish his kingdom throughout all the earth. So let's go.
And it says in the commentary, next they encamped at the valley of Achor in Beni Jacan, which means children or sons, where Achan stole gold and silver and the accursed thing, and hid it in the ground under his tent.
Y'all remember that? They from the tribe of Judah, but he's most high using it prophetically though. Right? Right?
Is that Armenian?
Armenian.
Armenian definition of Achan means a twisting or line. This appears to refer to a
Pagan Jesus doctrine that is hidden in the hearts of many. So just like we came out of Egypt was under paganism, under Pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? Now we in these other countries under paganism and this false Christ, this false image of Christ. And the things that come with Christ, it's in our hearts. So just imagine these Christians who are in the wilderness. It's in their heart. It's hidden deep down in their heart. But the Most High says something. So you can't hide nothing from him. So all this stuff must be purged out of us. Because what's our two biggest stumbling blocks? The wood and the stone. The things are embedded in our hearts. The practices, the beliefs, the way of life that we've been known all our life. These are the things that will stumble many. But he said, but he hid it. It's meaning that it's hidden in us. You know, you may, to us, a person might appear to be righteous, but Ahayah knows your imaginations and your inventions. So no one will enter into the kingdom with any of that in their hearts. None of it. It all has to be purged out. Okay? That's why the Most High had them, when they went to war, get destroyed. Right? Then they came back. When they purged it out, him and his whole family, the whole tent, everything, that's what I love. Then they were successful. See what I'm saying? Once that hidden thing, that accursed thing, you see what I'm saying? That came from the former, you know what I'm saying, way of life or worship. Once that was done away with, then they were successful. Move on. So these things have to be heard. These are stages, like I said, of spiritual growth. Okay? Because, yes.
I got a question about the living water. With Yasha being the living water, and just saying when they came out of Egypt, you know, whenever somebody was thirsty, just say it that way. Whenever somebody was thirsty, it was just really meaning that they didn't receive Christ.
No, they hadn't, they were naturally thirsty.
Okay, no, I'm saying with the murmuring, when they was coming out with the murmuring, so it really just showed what's about to happen soon. You know, when they say when people get weak and get the murmuring, if we got Christ, we knowing that the Messiah, knowing that the Most High is going to take care of us. If we got Christ, we believing and knowing that we ain't got to depend on the government. We're going to wait and seek this thing out. So that's...
Exactly, sister. Exactly. Yep. So that's it in a nutshell. You know what I'm saying? It's like right now, like I said, I think it's, my wife said something about 2020, we all got to change our license or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That may be our last time to have a license. Because the next step, the mark of the beast. It's all leading up to that. So will we fear, which is coming up next? Will we fear this circumstance? Or as you said, will we rely on Christ? When we're thirsty, when we're hungry, will we rely on Christ? But it's showing you that, you know, although we come to class and keep the Sabbath, that kind of stuff, when this happens, that hidden thing will be revealed. You get it? That hidden thing will be revealed. What's really inside you. The Most High, I'm telling you, the Most High is awesome. All these things, when you read the Bible, he gives you more and more. He's showing you why and how he done this thing. And also this shows that man did not write this Bible. You know what I'm saying? Man ain't that smart. You know, having things, causing things to happen. Like he said, I'm the one that tell you the beginning and the finale. These things, he gives you us names and reasons for what's going to happen in the end. Okay? But yes, but this go ahead, read.
It says, there was contention in the home stretch over the waters. Another akin
So it was, go ahead.
is prophesied to twist or hide the accursed thing deep inside of his heart. Jeremiah chapter 23, 23, and 24.
The son of perdition. Let's get it. 23?
Mm-hmm. And it reads,
So the same way that the king was enveloped with when he was with the accursed thing, the sons of perdition have twisted the truth. And now the seed of Israel have things, like I said, hidden in their hearts that come from these false teachers, or you know what I'm saying, or from this land mastered on their religion, their gods. Can you feel me? Okay, let's go. Because right now people will not need their Jesus. You know what I'm saying, and don't know none of his commandments. You know what I mean? But they will not leave. It's in their hearts, and many of them will take that with them. It's also going to see when he said, "Flee Babylon." We have to flee the things that's deep in our heart. Purge them out. Okay, read.
verse 23. Am I a God at hand, said the Most High, and not a God afar off? Can any hide himself in secret places, that I shall not see him, said the Most High? Do not I fill heaven and earth, said the Most High?
So he's showing you who he is. Now he created heaven and earth. Does he not feel it? Everything that's in heaven, he created it. Everything on earth and the waters, he created it. There's no secret thing to him. So his thing, like that's what Christ says. Everything that's done in the dark will come to the light. Every secret thing will be manifest. Those who make it into the kingdom of the Most High will be pure in heart. Y'all understand that? Will be pure in heart. Yeah. Next. Now we're traveling. Let's go. Now we getting there. Okay. Let's go.
It says, next they encamped at Ammon Debathi Yemaiah, which means to be concealed or hidden. Next precept, Psalms 81:27. Miss type on.
Let's see. The 17? What? Let's see. Who we at? 80?
No.
I got an 81.
Let me see.
No.
Let me see.
Oh, it's verse 7, 81 verse 7.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it reads, Thou callest in trouble, and I delivered thee. I answered thee in the secret place of thunder. I proved thee at the waters of Meribah. Salah.
Thank you. That's what I wanted. Now, he spoke to us in the secret place of thunder, right? Where was that at?
Next precept, Isaiah 35, 1 and 2.
So he will once again speak to us in this secret place of thunder, right? Remember when they feared him and told us to go to the mount? Okay, but let's go.
Isaiah 35, 1 and 2.
Right here. Let's find this. Let's get it. Let's read this. We'll read it again. So.
The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing.
So it's showing that the earth is anticipating this right here. It needs relief too from these tyrants. Right?
Even the glory of Lebanon shall not be given unto it. The excellency of Carmel and Sharon, they shall see the glory of the Most High and the excellency of our God. It says, now with total unity, Yahshua will reveal to us Ahayah's secret things and instruct us. Psalms 91, 1 and 2.
Now this when everybody is purged out. It will be a process.
And it reads, He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Most High, He is my God and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust.
This is what we would say. after the process. During the process and after the process. We'll be in the shadow of the Most High, the protection of the Most High. We will trust in Him, like as the sister was talking about. We'll rely on the Messiah. And we will say that His God is our God, and Him we will trust. The other ones didn't do that. Okay? Read.
Question.
Yes.
So, this is in the wilderness, right?
This is it's both. We're going to the wilderness and we're going from the wilderness to Jerusalem.
To what?
To Jerusalem.
Okay, but like what you're saying right now, it seems like He will do that within us spiritually right now.
Huh?
He'll do that within us spiritually right now. That's the process.
I'm saying it's all the process. That's what I'm saying. Like as I stated earlier, while we're living right now, where we're learning, we're obligated to do it. Right? So it says rehearse the righteous acts while you can. So if we make it into the wilderness, we will rehearse the righteous acts and learn more. You know what I'm saying? But there'll be those who was not rehearsing or never heard of his acts or his righteous acts. You see what I'm saying? But for us right now, we're obligated. We can't say, well, I'm going to be wicked into the wilderness. It might not make it to the wilderness.
They were kind of teaching that kind of
In
a certain place. Like,
Yes.
if we made it to the wilderness, we were golden. It's like, but he's still destroying. So if
Right.
we're golden,
Exactly. Yeah. Right then.
Forgot what's in there. They
Yeah.
forgot what's going on in their lives right now. That ain't gonna even get you past what
I said, what we get encouragement tonight?
right.
He gonna ask you at that time, did you keep my laws? No, you took your son to a football game on Saturday.
On the side.
You know what I'm saying? So what that means, you was a rebel. So right now, you getting the business done to you. You know what I'm saying? So, but if we survive to be in this position, because that's what Yahshua was given. That parable means so much about, those be first will be last, and he gave the whole thing about hiring people, a Lord sought workers, and he promised them 2 pennies. One started working at 6 in the morning, one at 7 in the morning, one at 8 in the morning. So it don't matter what time period. What did you do when you agreed to the labor? You see what I'm saying? So if you did what you was on the contract, there's a reward at the end. So no matter what time period it happens in. So now in the wilderness, it's the same Lord with the same business. So now it's workers working for the kingdom. You see what I'm saying? But these ones, for example, in the land which means grave of the envious or the covetous. Now you envy, as Christ says, this worker because you've been working longer than him and got paid the same thing. He called him an evil worker. See what I'm saying? Because you envied your brother, it's your brother. No matter when you start, you both want to hear the kingdom. Do not love your brother as you love yourself. Therefore, you get destroyed because you covet. You envy your brother because you think you did more. When all, Most High want all His children to inherit their kingdom. That's what Christ is really saying. So that's why it's a purging right now, sister, of ourselves right now. Like seriously, I was saying this a couple days ago to my family. I'm like, when I played football, the first 5 years, I was not a practice player. Like, I did my thing, put my flip-flops on, and sat on the sideline and watched everybody else do their thing. But as I got older in it, I became a practice player. So when the game started, I was in much better shape and was able to perform much better. Same thing with this. So if we practice right now hard, the wilderness won't be that hard for us. Because we going through this thing right now, learning who the Most High is, trusting Him, serving Him. We coming in with an advantage. We'd be tempted, yeah. But if you love the Most High right now with all your heart and all your soul and life, you have a great chance to make it. Like I don't want to, like Paul says, do all this labor and then be a castaway. You know what I'm saying? So I go into the wilderness. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do everything right. I have an understanding. So I just had more practice. So if I'm first, it don't matter. Last, it don't matter to me. That's going to be the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? But it don't matter how much you labor, when you labor. Ultimately, it's about us making it. Like, seriously, you're like, well, I labored for 15 years. This person was a crackhead, and now they in the wilderness with me. We should be happy that the Most High had mercy on this person. But believe it or not, many people will be stumbled by that. It's like, for example, another great example, Jonah. The story of Jonah. Jonah was angry with the Most High because he showed mercy to a wicked people. So Ahayah said, which correlates to what we're in right now. Should I destroy, like, say, 108,000 men and women who don't lay their right hand from their left hand? Go to my people and warn them. And when Jonah went and warned them, they all repented. Correlating to what we're talking about right now. These people don't know their right hand from their left hand. And this is how the Most High is continually teaching me. Because at one time, I didn't believe what I'm teaching right now. But we all learn it. So they'll get opportunity if they make it to that point and be gathered. Like, for any of us to look down on them, that's hellfire. Because he showed mercy to us. Why would he show? He's not a respected person. These are all his children. Do y'all get that? So we will go through these stages because it's not a one-day task. He's not just boom, one day clean those people up and they righteous. This is a task. You know? But let's go.
The commentary says, the wilderness will be a place where we will be alone with Yasha, and those who overcome will lose the fear. Those who overcome will lose the fear of circumstances and death, because they will see Ahayah's hand in all things. It will be a preparation place for us coming into our inheritance, the land of Canaan, which means under authority, right? So do y'all get that? We just kind of went over that, right? So those who make it, who overcome, we won't fear death. We won't fear no circumstance, wherever it is, if we're presented with any temptation, we will overcome it because we fear and love the Most High in Yasha. Okay? Deuteronomy chapter 7? Verse 1 to 5. Deuteronomy
All
chapter
7 of these nations mean something perfectly, but let's go.
Chapter 7, starting at verse 1. When Ahayah thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
Now, it's ironic, right? I was telling Baruch this. He used 7 nations. And we come on this journey of these stages, right? In Ahayah. What does 7 represent to the Most High? Completion. So after these 7 steps per se, those who overcome will be complete. Will be perfect. Get it? So let's go.
And when Ahayah thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughters thou shalt not give unto his sons, nor his daughters shalt thou take unto thy sons. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Most High be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars, and break down their images, and cut down their groves, and burn their graven images with fire.
Okay.
And it says in the commentary, Deuteronomy 7, 1 through 5 named all the nations who comprised the land of Canaan. So all 7 nations had to be dispossessed of the land by the hand and power of Ahayah. Hittites means fear or terror.
Fear or terror. We must overcome the fear and terror. Okay? Read.
Overcomers will overcome their fears, because Ahayah didn't give us the spirit of fear. Girgashites means dwelling on clay soil, a very unsure foundation that will never support a right way of living.
And we could say this land right here is that land. Right? The way of life and the gods that they gave us to serve is like what Christ says. We build our house on clay that would not stand. Christ is talking about all this when he's talking. He understands all this when he's talking. Right? So we have to overcome this way of life, this way of thinking. It won't stand up against the Most High. You see what I'm saying? It's only one right way to live. And that's according to his counsel. Right? So we'll go through it. Fear. What's the first thing that our people do? We feared. Immediately, we feared. Okay? Next, we get rid of the uncertain way of life. Of worship. Most High said, you see the idols, burn them down. With fire. Okay? So, not only physically, this also represents us inside. We must burn it with fire. We must purge it out of us. Because when you burn something with fire, what does it do? Huh? Purify, clear, yeah. But like right now, if this place, this building burnt down, it'd be dust, then what will happen? All of a sudden, the city, hopefully, would come and clean it out, and there'd be no more remembrance of this place. You see what I'm saying? So that's how it must be with us, internally. No more remembrance of this place. The gods that we were taught to serve. The customs that we was taught to do. All right? The culture that we was taught. We must burn it with fire to inherit our kingdom. Okay? Make sense? Okay, let's go.
Amorite means boasters.
So, boasters. Are we not in the right place? Are these not Amorites? Are they not boasters? But they boasters, so if you're a boaster, if you rule over people, you're a boaster. What does that do for your people? I say all the time, the people are asked as leaders. So, is Donald Trump a boaster? Did the Most High not say that those people said that their pride had deceived them? So, that has trickled down to who? Us. So now we're prideful, broke people. Right? So this pride, the Bible says, what about pride? Beginning to sin. It's when one departs from his maker. So this pride, which is the beginning of sin, must be destroyed. No prideful person will inherit the kingdom. Okay? Be no boasters. And that's what Korah and them was doing. Boasting. Okay? Read.
Amorite means boasters. They were the strongest people in Canaan, just as pride is the stronghold of brothers and sisters.
That's our biggest stronghold. When we're receiving the Most High counsel, what blocks it? Pride. Do y'all get it? So when we get through these 7 steps successfully, again, we'll be what? Perfect, complete. That's why it's 7, right? Read.
Wow.
Canaanites means to be humbled or brought low.
Is it amazing?
Amazing.
So to destroy pride, we must be what? Brought low, humble. It's all foreshadowing of what's to come. Let's go.
Just as every believer has to fall on the rock to be broken and not have the rock fall on them and be broken or crushed.
Do y'all hear that? That's scripture. Let's get it. Okay. Read again. Christ is the stumbling block. Either he before you or against you. If you come to him as one of these little ones, how are these little ones? Innocent, humble. You should hear the kingdom is yours. Okay? But let's get it. Matthew 21:44.
Matthew chapter 21, verse 44. It says, and whoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken.
Whoever shall fall on this stone, come on himself, shall be broken. Humbled. Read.
But on whomsoever it fall, it will grind him to powder.
It will do what?
Grind him to powder.
Grind him to powder. So it's better be broken by him than him falling on you, grind you to powder. Okay? Let's get it.
And the commentary reads, parasites means a breach in the wall. So we must repair the breaches in our walls. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5.
How do we repair the breach in our wall? What's our wall? What's the thing? The wall represents defense. Right? So what's our wall?
Whatever person is blocking us from
Whatever stronghold.
God.
It's, the stronghold is causing the breach between you and Christ. Right? So we must do this.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahshua.
We must. That's how we destroy the breach. Cast down all our imaginations, any thought that exalts itself above Christ, and bring it to captivity. Like we was talking this couple of days ago. Anything from the past, anything right now that's, because our baggage is baggage for a reason. You know, so Yasha says, check out. If your burdens are trying you down and heavy, right? What does he say do to him? Give them to him. Because whatever from your past, right, that's a burden. How's it a burden? But you're allowing, but it's deeper than that, right? Remember, our forefathers didn't have to just be delivered from Pharaoh, but from what Pharaoh brought to them. So we grew up in the land like our foreparents did, of captivity, suffering the curses. So everything from our past is residue from disobedience. It has shaped us into who we are. That's why in the song I say we must be the handiwork of God. So all those burdens that's holding you down from the kingdom must be cast. You must really trust in Christ and give it to him. Don't let nothing from your past hinder you from your kingdom. So no matter how you was taught, who taught you, how much you feel about them, you gotta let it go. Because it's not under the obedience of Christ. Because anything, that's the hidden thing that Achan hid in the soul. He hid it in the earth. Was representing what? The innermost parts of us. The belly. He hid in the belly of the earth. The innermost parts of us. We gotta let it go. And truly give it to Christ. And put it, all these burdens, all these scars that we have from the world. We gotta let it all go. Make it to the kingdom. So it's whoever you was in the world, you gotta let it go. Seriously. It means it profits you nothing. Most High say it is vanity. We must be the handiwork of the Most High. Allow him, through Christ, create a new creature in us. Give us a pure heart. Do y'all get it? Okay? The Most High knows who made it through this 7-step process. We don't. So we have to work and do what's necessary to make it. It's on us. Read.
It says, Hivites means dwellers of high places.
See? Get it. Read it.
The high places were the places of the false worship to false gods.
So, what are we casting down? We burnt the images. Everything that came with it. All the ceremonies, the Christmas, the Thanksgiving, the eating abominations, the promiscuous lifestyles, who what false religions allow us to do. I say we're scarred. Many of us are scarred from relationships from the past. But false religion and no leadership, no king, led us to this point. We have a king. Okay? We have a culture. We have a heritage. Let's learn it and do it. Now. Read.
Next precept, Deuteronomy chapter 7:5.
You didn't read that?
We read that.
Yeah, we did. It's next on the list though.
Okay, that's me.
Just dealing with destroying the altars and
Okay.
stuff. We referenced it.
So spiritually, we have to destroy the altars, the sacrifices. That was abominable. That was abominable. Get it? Let's go.
Jebusites means to thresh, desecrate, or utterly reject. Sin and deception must be thoroughly rejected in order for Ahayah's kingdom to have dominion.
So this is it. Again, we have to thresh these things, tear these things down. Sin and deception must be rejected. The Most High gave us He gave us. He said we must hate sin. So if you hate something, you reject it. If you hate something, you reject it. If you receive something, obviously, you don't hate it. See, that's that baggage. That's that stronghold that you're holding on to. We have to reject it. Because those who inherit the kingdom are those that do this. That's why our kingdom will be full of righteousness. Because those who make it will reject sin and will not be deceived. You get it? Then the Most High's kingdom will be established throughout all the earth. Let's go.
Next precept, Psalms 13 through 16. Psalms 91, verses 13 through 16.
91.
Verse 13 through 16.
That's that banana pudding right there. I can smell it. I used to feel them greens too. I smell them greens too. Let's get it.
Psalms chapter 91, verse 13. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shall trample under feet, because he hath set his love upon me. Therefore will I deliver him.
Now, do y'all understand what that first scripture was really saying?
Read it again.
I got it. It says, thou shalt tread underfoot the lion, and adder is a poisonous snake, right? The young lion and the dragon shall thou trample underfoot. All these things that you fear, those are overcome. We trample these things underfoot and put all imagination under the captivity of Christ. Like I said, those who make it will not fear anything, will not be deceived. Right now, are you scared of a lion?
Yeah.
I'm very scared of a lion.
In the cage, I ain't scared of him, but if he was out
He's
there,
looking at you, y'all out in the open.
If you're in the cage, I'm still kind of nervous. Might get up like that. You know what I'm saying? So, but these are the Most High. Yes, the Most High is showing us these things that we fear must be overcome. No weapon formed against us should prosper. You see what I'm saying? Right?
snake.
Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble.
So this is talking about the Messiah and his seed. Okay? Those who are in the mindset of Christ, who are in the footsteps of Christ. Remember, we must be one. Okay? He's talking about Christ, but he's also talking about those who follow Christ. Read.
He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation.
My salvation. Let's get it. Let's precept.
Commentary.
Okay.
It says, our fathers had 7 nations they had to defeat while entering our land that were stronger or mightier than they were. Before Ahayah will grant them the power to cut down the Asherah of those 7 nations.
Okay, go ahead.
Israel had to first cut down their own Asherah or graven image within themselves. Once this is accomplished, then will Ahayah give us the promised covenant of peace he promised to our fathers. He will set it in motion forever. Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 23 to 31.
So we covered that, right? The things that we deem as idols, we must cut them down and burn them with fire. Especially if it's ourselves, because most of us, it is ourselves, right? That's why he said, flee idolatry. Flee idolatry, okay? Worship of thyself or any image. Ezekiel.
Ezekiel chapter 34, starting at verse 23.
Got me confused a little bit.
Man, yeah, Romans is Roman. Verse 23. And I will set up one shepherd over them, and he shall feed them, even my servant David. He shall feed them, and he shall be their shepherd. And I, Ahayah, will be their God, and my servant David, a prince among them. I, Ahayah, have spoken it. And I will make with them a covenant of peace, and will cause the evil beasts to cease out of the land, and they shall dwell safely in the wilderness, and sleep in the woods. And I will make them a place, and I will make them the places round about my hill a blessing, and I will cause the shower to come down in his season. There shall be showers of blessings. And the tree of the field shall yield her fruit, and the earth shall yield her increase, and they shall be safe in their land, and shall know that I am Ahayah, when I have broken the bands of their yoke, and delivered them out of the hand of those that serve themselves of them. And they shall no more be a prey to the heathen, neither shall the beasts of the land devour them, but they shall dwell safely, and none shall make them afraid. And I will raise up for them a plant of renown, and they shall be no more consumed with hunger in the land, neither bear the shame of the heathen any more. Thus shall they know that I am Ahayah their God, that I, Ahayah their God, am with them, and that they, even the house of Israel, are my people, saith Ahayah. And ye, my flock, the flock of my pasture, are men, and I am your God, saith Ahayah.
This is our promise, people. This is our promise. See how the Bible constantly reminds us about who we are to the Most High, how important we are to the Most High, what He promised to give to His people if we keep His commandments. For all those who want to be successful, as we talked about earlier, this is the way. outside this right here is destruction. Okay? So the Most High, I just don't know what to say. But He has promised these things, and nothing that He has said has not come to pass. It's here for the taking. Can we purge out our graven image, our aftermath? Can we do that? I see my baby watching. Hey, baby. Shabbat shalom. Let's go.
And the commentary continues. It says, those that overcome will know and understand the law and how to apply having the mind of Yasha. Must be balanced in law, grace, mercy, and justice, and discipline and love. Next precept, 2 John chapter 2, verse 6. 2 John verse 6, or 1 John 2, 6.
This is love of God. It says, 2 John chapter 1 verse 6. And this is love, that we walk after His commandments. This is the commandment, that as ye have heard from the beginning, ye shall walk in it. Y'all get it? This is love, that we walk after His commandments. Those that make it will prove themselves lovers of the Most High in the Messiah by walking His commandments, not fearing anything, any circumstance, any person, any country, nothing. But those that overcome the world will receive the promises of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And enjoy perfect happiness in our kingdom. Okay? So, let's get some more precepts. We can stop right there, but let's knock this out. I don't know about y'all, but when I read this stuff, I just get excited.
It's exciting understanding.
Kind of.
Finally,
Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 14 to 21. I read it. Come when everybody's there. O Ahayah, thou knowest, remember me, and visit me, and revenge me of my persecutors. Take me not away. Am I reading them right?
14 and
Oh, I'm sorry. 14. And I will make thee to pass with thy enemies into, and I will make thee to pass with thy enemies into a land which thou knowest not. For a fire is kindled in my anger. Okay, that happened already. The fire is kindled in my anger, which shall burn upon you. O Ahayah, thou Lord, remember me and visit me, and revenge me of my persecutors. Take me not away in thy long suffering. Knoweth that for thy sake I have suffered rebuke. Thy words were found, and I did eat them. And thy words was unto me the joy and rejoicing of my heart. For I am called by thy name, O Ahayah, God of hosts. I sat not in the assembly of the mockers, nor rejoiced. I sat alone because, read again, I sat alone because of thy hand. For thou hast filled me with indignation. Why is my pain perpetual, and my wounds incurable, which refuse to be healed? This ain't what I want to read. Let's go to the next one. Jeremiah 33, 8. How many everybody there?
So I'm just, you want the 16. I'm reading it. You want the 16, 14, 21.
Probably so.
Yep.
Read it. 16, 14, and 21. Yep, that's what I wanted to read.
Time when everyone's there. And it reads, Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that it shall no more be said, the Most High liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Most High liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the land whither he had driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. Behold, I will send for many fishers, saith the Most High, and they shall fish them. And after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain, and from every hill, and out of the holes of the rocks. For mine eyes are upon all their ways, they are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from mine eyes. And first I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double, because they have defiled my land. They have filled mine inheritance with the carcasses of their detestable and abominable things. O Ahayah, my strength, and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, Surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Shall a man make goods? Shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods? Therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know. I will cause them to know mine hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is Ahayah.
So as we know, when Ahayah is doing all these marvelous works and destroying these nations and people, that many Gentiles will recognize, like as it's written, that what they've been taught through their fathers was lies and vanity. There's only one true living God, and their fathers lied to the world and said that we all serve the same God, and Christ's law done away with, and you can do whatever you want to do. Grace cover you under the blood of Christ, all that stuff. But even the Gentiles, a remnant of them, will recognize, right, that He's our God, and God of the heavens and the earth.
So I ask another question. So in 16, right after 15, where it says that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. Behold, I will send for many fishers, said the Most High, and they shall fish them. Is that referring to? You think that's referring to the actual process, or you know what I mean? Like when he's gathering his people, sending for the fishers and them fishing.
Who's the fishers?
Those he okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering.
What did Christ say? He would give his angel a charge to do what? Gather. So men can't find these people because men don't know who all Israel is.
Okay,
You see what I'm saying?
That
so
makes
it's the
sense.
angels who know who we are.
Okay.
They were guys from the holes. Men, yes.
Isn't there a reason why? Because all the mixing,
Yes. But
we can't really know.
exactly, because we've been mixing with these people for so long. We don't know. There's people that's white, they look like that's Israel. You know what I'm saying? But we don't know all. So the fishers and the hunters are the angels.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? At one time I thought it was us, but it's not. Because when you really read it and get into it through the Spirit, it's showing you that men don't know. They don't know. Huh?
I thought it was teachers.
He said, I'll go gather my people. Right? And bring his people. That's why the whole world would know who we are, because it's a great company. Only through divine direction can this occur. Tell me what find Israel out. You know what I'm saying? You might get 3 people. You know what I mean? But let's go. Say what?
I said they'll all be wrong.
They all be wrong. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
Next precept, Jeremiah chapter 33.
I ain't even know. Let's go. Right. Get me started today.
Please don't.
Okay.
Let them see a name on the show.
Let's get it. Where we at? Isaiah?
Nope.
Jeremiah? 33, 8, 20. Okay, let's go. Y'all funny.
Count everyone's there. Verse 8. And I will cleanse them from all their iniquity whereby they have sinned against me, and I will pardon all their iniquities, whereby they have sinned, and whereby they have transgressed against me. And it shall be to me a name of joy, a praise and an honor before all the nations of the earth, which shall hear all the good that I do unto them, and they shall fear and tremble for all the goodness and for all the prosperity that I procure unto it. Thus saith Ahayah, again, there shall be...
Is something burning?
Maybe. There's all that stuff on
Hey, check the food out. Smell something burning. Really?
She just checked.
Oh, okay. Let's go. Let's go.
That's hungry.
Yeah.
Said the food burning. Wow.
Thus saith the Most High, again there shall be heard in this place, which ye say shall be desolate, without man and without beast, even in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, that are desolate, without man and without inhabitant and without beast. The voice of joy and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, the voice of them that shall say, Praise Ahayah, the Lord of hosts, for Ahayah is good, for his mercy endureth forever, and of them that shall bring the sacrifice of praise into the house of the Most High.
Y'all see the difference between the sacrifice? The sacrifice of praise. It's not of a bullock or ox. Okay? Read.
For I will cause to return the captivity of the land as at the first, saith the Most High. Thus saith Ahayah, the Lord of hosts.
I will call to return those in captivity of the land. To do what? To return. Wait. I will cause to return the captivity of the land, those that are captive. Israel, my people, we are still in captivity. Okay? Read.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, again in this place, which is desolate without man and without beast, and in all the cities thereof shall be an habitation of shepherds causing their flocks to lie down. In the cities of the mountains, in the cities of the vale, and in the cities of the south, and in the land of Benjamin, and in the places of Jerusalem, and in the cities of Judah, shall the flocks pass again under the hand of him that telleth them, saith Ahayah. Behold, the days come, saith Ahayah, that I will perform that good thing which I have promised unto the house of Israel and to the house of Judah.
Again, do y'all see the free people now? There's no more working to feed your belly. We have our own flocks, our own vineyards, right? Our inheritance. He says he will do this thing, this good thing he promised to who? The same people that they say were done away with. The children of Israel. Us only has he made a covenant with, no other people. Okay? So it's very imperative that we figure out this thing real quick and fight for our kingdom and do the things that the Most High commands us to do. Because he promised us this. He didn't promise you die and go to heaven. He said, no. In your land, I promised, the land I promised your fathers, I will return you by way of the wilderness. This purging process that must occur. This cleansing process. He said, I will cleanse them from their iniquities. Read.
Verse 15, in those days, and at that time, will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David.
Who is that? Who is the branch of righteousness unto David? That same term he was calling David. The branch of righteousness unto David is the seed of David. Yasha. Read.
And he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. In those days shall Judah be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. And this is the name wherewith
she shall be called.
She shall be called.
The Lord of our righteousness.
For thus saith Ahayah, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. Neither shall the priests, the Levites, want a man before me to offer burnt offerings, and to kindle meat offerings, and to do sacrifice continually. And the word of Ahayah came unto Jeremiah, saying, Thus saith Ahayah, if ye can break my covenant of the day, and my covenant...
Wait. I want everybody to pay attention to this right here, proving that the Most High covenant and promises is not done away with. He says, if a man can do what?
If he can break my covenant of the day, and my covenant of the night, and that there should not be day and night in their season.
Is there still day and night time? Do we still have seasons? Let's get it.
Then may also my covenant be broken with David my servant, that he should not have a son to reign upon his throne, and with the Levites the priests my ministers. As the host of heaven cannot be numbered, neither the sand of the sea measured, so will I multiply the seed of David my servant, and the Levites that minister unto me. Moreover, the word of Ahayah came to Jeremiah, saying, Considerest thou not what this people have spoken? Saying, the two families which Ahayah hath chosen, he hath even cast them off.
Ooh. Are they not still teaching the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Have you not considered the Most High what these people are saying about your people?
Mm.
Have they not cast them off? Read.
Thus they have despised my people, that they should be no more a nation before them. Thus saith Ahayah, if my covenant be not with day and night, and if I have not appointed the ordinances of heaven and earth, then will I cast away the seed of Jacob and David my servant, so that I will not take any of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For I will cause their captivity to return and have mercy on them.
Promise by the Most High. This covenant will never be broken. It's about to be firmly established forever. Isaiah 43, verse 1 through 13. Everybody there? Everybody there? Okay. Any questions? But now, thus says Ahayah, that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. So obviously, we're traveling, right? For I am Ahayah thy God, the Holy One of Israel, thy Savior. I gave Egypt for thy ransom, Ethiopia and Seba for thee. Since thou wast precious in my sight, thou hast been honorable, and I have loved thee. Therefore will I give men for thee, and people for thy life. Fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed from the east, and gather thee from the west. I just can't get why people can't figure this out. The Most High said that he would bring Jacob, our people, from the east and from the west, from the north country, to all the islands far off, to all the territories we've been scattered. It don't sound like a free doctrine to me. Since where? 6. I would say to the north, I'm serious, I love the Most High, man, it is truth. I would say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my son from far, and my daughters from the ends of the earth. Come on now. For real though. Are we fleeing or the Most High doing this thing? Man. Even everyone that is called by my name. So believe it or not, my people, there's 2 other categories that can be called by that name too, but the covenant is not with them. This is a blessing for them. But the covenant is with the house of Israel. Amos chapter 9, verse 11 reads, In that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom, and of the heathen, which are called by my name, says Ahayah that doeth this. So there will be a remnant of the heathen that will be gathered too. Same way it was coming out of Egypt. But the covenant goes to who? Dominion goes to who? The children of Israel. We will possess them as an inheritance to our children. As it's written, they'll be our vine dressers, our handmaids, our handmaids. Remember, in our kingdom, there's no sinner on earth. So there's no ill treating of anybody. These people will be glad to serve us. After seeing what they have witnessed, it's better than the alternative. To live in eternity, in peace and happiness. Serving God's people. So, let's bring it all together. Where we at? 43 verse 7. Even everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory. I have formed him. Yea, I have made him. Bring forth the blind people that have eyes, and the deaf that have ears. And let all the nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled. Who among them can declare this, and show us former things? Let them bring forth their witnesses, that they may be justified. And let them hear and say, it is true. That's where I'm going. 14? 13? Ye are my witnesses, says Ahayah, and my servant whom I have chosen. Now it's back into his people. That ye may know and believe me, and understand that I am he. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. I, even I, am Ahayah, and besides me there is no Savior. So this don't mean that there's no Christ. Remember, Christ says that the Most High reveals salvation in him. So he's using Christ, the Messiah, to bring salvation to his people. Without the power of the Most High, there's no salvation through Christ. Christ's power comes from the Most High. His protection comes from the Most High. Okay? It's God and Father. I have declared, verse 12, I have declared and have saved, and I have showed when there was no strange God among you. Therefore ye are my witnesses, says Ahayah, that I am God. We are witnesses because we are the only people he gave his laws, statutes, and commandments to, and have experienced his judgments. Okay? Yea, before the day was I was he, and there is none that can deliver out of my hand. I will work, and who shall let it? Okay? Thus says Ahayah, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go. Where we at?
And then I see 18 through 44:8. So click on
18 to 44:8? 8?
Yep.
Remember, ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old. So it means we must really get into our Bible so we can know what he's talking about. His powerful works. So we can have trust in it that's to come. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness, and rivers in the desert. The beasts of the field shall honor me, the dragons and the owls, because I give water in the wilderness, and rivers in the desert, to give drink to my people, my chosen. This people have I formed for myself. They should show forth my praise. But thou hast not called upon me, O Jacob. But thou hast been weary of me, O Israel. Thou hast not brought me the small cattle of thy burnt offerings, neither hast thou honored me with thy sacrifices. We've been involved in paganism. I have not caused thee to serve with an offering, nor wearied thee with incense. Thou hast brought me no sweet cane with money, neither hast thou filled me with the fat of thy sacrifices, but thou hast made me to serve with thy sins. Thou hast wearied me with thy iniquities. I, even I, am he that blotteth out thy transgressions for my own sake, and will not remember thy sins. Put me in remembrance. Let us plead together. Declare thou, that thou mayest be justified. Thy first father hath sinned, and thy teachers have transgressed against me. Therefore I have profaned the princes of the sanctuary, and have given Jacob to the curse, and Israel to reproaches. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus says Ahayah, that made thee, and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou, Jersulem, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour out my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessings upon thy offspring. And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the watercourses. Promise. Next precept. Isaiah 11. Isaiah chapter 11. It's the reason they don't want people going into the Old Testament. And there should come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch should grow out of his roots. And the spirit of Ahayah should rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of fear in the fear of Ahayah. And shall make him a quick understanding in the fear of Ahayah. And he should not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meat of the earth. He shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf also should dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kids, or goat, and the calf and the young lion and the fatlings together, and a little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and the suckling child shall play on the hole of an asp, or poisonous snake, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den, same thing, poisonous snake. They should not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain or holy kingdom, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Ahayah, as the waters cover the sea. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and the rest shall be glorious. How far I'm going? And it shall come to pass in that day that Ahayah shall set his hand again the second time to recover. Let me read it part again, 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that Ahayah shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people. Okay? Which should be left from Assyria, from Egypt, and from Paros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, the Messiah, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. I pray that you may watch this who believe in the free doctrine that you reconsider and go over this lesson again, go over these precepts again. Put your trust in the Most High, what the Bible says. Yeah, you find scripture saying, flee from Babylon. We did that. Okay? Right, Babylon ain't the whole world, the four corners of the earth. So everybody ain't fleeing Babylon. Okay? That already came to pass. Next precept.
12:6.
12:6. Read.
Cry out and shout, thou inhabitant of Zion, For great is the Holy One of Israel in the midst of thee.
My people, cry out to your people. Inform them of their kingdom. Inform them of the promises that is promised through our fathers to their seed, which is us. Cry out. Tell them. Next precept.
Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 12 through 19. Count when everyone's there. And it reads, Go and proclaim these words toward the north, and say, Return, thou black backsliding Israel, saith the Most High, and I will not cause mine anger to fall upon you, for I am merciful, saith the Most High, and I will not keep my anger forever. Only acknowledge thine iniquity, that thou hast transgressed against the Most High thy God, and hast scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree. And ye have not obeyed my voice, saith the Most High. Turn, O backsliding children, said the Ahayah, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city, and two of a family, and will bring you to Zion. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. And it shall come to pass.
And that's going on right now and will continue. Okay, read. He has given us pastors that will feed them with the truth, his knowledge. Read.
And it shall come to pass, when ye be multiplied and increase in the land, in those days, saith the Most High, they shall say no more, the ark of the covenant of Ahayah, neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they visit it, neither shall that be done any more. At that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of Ahayah, and all the nations shall be gathered unto it, and the name of Ahayah to Jerusalem. Neither shall they walk any more after the imagination of their evil heart. In those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers.
It's our inheritance, my people. Now y'all see how these Jewish people again ain't these people. They don't know what tribe they're supposed to be from. Because they ain't from no tribe of the children of Israel. But again, we have an inheritance. If only we would stop backsliding and admit our transgressions and obey the Most High. Right? Read.
But I said, How shall I put thee among the children, and give thee a pleasant land, a goodly heritage of the host of the nations? And I said, Thou shalt call me my father, and shalt not turn away from me. Next precept, Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 4. And it reads, In those days and in that time, said the Most High, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek Ahayah their God.
It said, what it say in the last precept, we admit our transgressions, our iniquities. Weeping, thankful, and giving them praise and thanksgiving. Next precept.
Ezekiel chapter 34.
Okay. Zechariah chapter 10. Zechariah chapter 10. Verse 6 through 12. Let's get it.
Verse 6. And I will strengthen the house of Judah, and I will save the house of Joseph, and I will bring them again to to place them, for I have mercy upon them, and they shall be as though I had not cast them off. For I am Ahayah their God, and will hear them. And they of Ephraim shall be like a mighty man, and their heart shall rejoice as through wine. Yea, their children shall see it, and be glad. Their heart shall rejoice in the Most High. I will hiss for them, and gather them, for I have redeemed them, and they shall increase as they have increased. And I will sow them among the people, and they shall remember me in far countries, and they shall live with their children and turn again. I will bring them again also out of the land of Egypt, and gather them out of Assyria.
It will gather out of our lands of captivity, right?
And I will bring them into the land of Gilead and Lebanon, and place shall not be found for them. And he shall pass through the sea with affliction, and shall smite the waves in the sea, and all the deeps of the river shall dry up, and the pride of Assyria shall be brought down, and the scepter of Egypt shall depart away. And I will strengthen them in the Most High, and they shall walk up and down in his name, saith Ahayah.
Last two precepts. I got it. Isaiah 65, 9 and 10.
We read that.
Did we? Why do I keep putting the same precept down? Psalms 91, 1 through 12. Last precept. Can we read that? Okay. Okay. Verse 1 reads, did we? We'll do it again. Let's get it. He that dwelleth in the secret places of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to Ahayah, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. A buckler is a protector, right? Shield. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thy eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made Ahayah, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitations. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. So, come 12? Okay, it says, they shall bear thee up in their hands. No, 11. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. Who quoted that to Christ? Satan. It says, written concerning thee, right? It's talking about Christ and his people, right? He says that, remember he told to cast him down from the cliff? So it says, verse 11, for he should give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. So, not only the Messiah, those who are in Christ. So, while all this destruction is going on, 10,000 dying to the right hand side, who's protecting us? The angels. The angels. Yes, the angels. Right? So, 12. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Okay? So, with that, I pray that was edifying for those in the class and those who may watch this. Sincerely, from my heart, I really pray that my people out there, that y'all get it. Christendom is not teaching you the truth concerning you. What you trust in is vanity. The Most High has concrete promises that he promised the children of Israel. And you are the children of Israel. Okay? So, please, open your Bibles up and read like Native Americans, hold on, what is it? African Americans, again, Mexicans, Cubans, Haitians. Read your Bible in the proper perspective. You are the children of Israel. These promises are talking to you. They're for you and your children. The Most High said that if we would turn back from our evil ways and keep his commandments, he will give us our inheritance. He'll protect us. Put us on our own land and we will dwell safely, even with the beast, with the Messiah. Do what you must do to save your soul from this forward generation. Love y'all. Shalom.
Shalom.
Y'all ready to eat?